Welcome back to First Look, the show where we give you just a taste of an upcoming board game. Today we're going to be showing you the first images and gameplay information on Tabannusi, Builders of coming soon from Board&Dice. In this game, you're taking on the role of an architect in the city of trying to build up the city by adding buildings to different districts, or by building ziggurats, which will worship the gods, or by contributing time and money into the harbor, filling it with ships and turning into a bustling center of civilization like it became in our own history. You're going to be doing this through a variety of unique mechanics. Board&Dice is known for their Euro games, and you're going to have a very heavy Euro feel here. This is a dice drafting game, but it's not like any other dice drafting game that I've played. I've had the opportunity now to play this game a few times, and I'm actually blown away by how much innovation there still is with this simple mechanic of dice drafting. Because the board of Tabannusi is divided into these different districts. Some of these districts are going to allow you to take specific actions, and you're going to have variable tiles that can be placed on all these different districts to kind of give them different actions every time you play. But you're going to get to start in one particular district, and you're going to draft a die. If you're looking at the board, you're going to see 5 different districts in the game and different colors of dice which are being brought in by these boats. The color of the die matters because each one of these dice represents a different resource, and you're going to have to go to one of these different ports in order to gather those resource dice. When you draft these dice, they come in front of you and they serve as a resource that you can spend later. But that's not all they do. The number of the die you draft determines which district you're going to be drafting from on the next turn. That is not something I have ever seen before in all my years of playing Euro games. So when you're drafting this dice, you have to be super careful, not just to get the die of the color that you need and trigger the actions that you need, but you need to know where you're wanting to go next. Of course, there are only 5 districts and there are 6 sides to a die. A 6 is wild, so if you manage to draft one of those 6s, you can go anywhere on your next turn. So the goal here in this game is to chain these actions. You're going to take a die, look at where it's going to put you next turn, look at where that's going to put you in 2 turns, 3 turns. You're trying to chain these actions so that you have the resources that you need by the time you get to the action that requires them, because each of these districts are going to be doing a lot of different things. You have some basic actions like the harbor where you're going to go and invest in these ships. Like I said, each ship is going to give you some kind of special ability for the rest of the game. These are variable, so you're going to have a number of different sail tiles here every time you play the game. They're going to give you special powers that can really be used to make your game a little more asymmetric than the other players. There are no actual faction powers, but these are going to let you kind of build your own set of unique abilities. You're also going to have the ziggurat area, which is in-game scoring. And again, these are tiles that are going to change every time you play. So you're going to be looking for different in-game scoring conditions every time. You're limited, of course, in the number of actions that you take, so you're going to have to be very selective between buying these sails and building these ziggurats, because if you're just doing those 2 things, you're not actually building up the things you'll need to score points. And that is from actually building in the 3 main districts. Building here comes with a twist as well. There are 2 stages to building a building. The first stage is by placing out a blueprint. You can place blueprints of the 3 different colors. This is a puzzle element. You're wanting to place these blueprints in specific spaces in order to score the most points and gain resources based on what you're covering. You're going to want them to be near rivers and gardens in order to score more points, and you're going to want to make these blueprints tantalizing for other players to build on. And this is the interesting way that Tabannusi encourages player interaction. One player is going to lay out blueprints, or multiple players are going to lay out blueprints in a chain. You can have up to 3 blueprints of a color touching. Beyond that, you'll have to build a new pocket of that colored building somewhere else. Once the blueprints are out, another player can come in and build on top of it. Now, this is why it becomes important to persuade people to come to your blueprints. If they build the buildings, they get all the points for building the buildings, but you get to move up one of the tracks that are on the top of the game board. There's a track for each one of the different colors of buildings you could possibly build. So this is bringing in an amount of player interaction that you don't always see in a dice drafting Euro. you're actually going to be wanting to constantly look at what other players are doing, what they have the capabilities of doing, and making some of those blueprints in very sweet spots so that other players will be forced to come in and make the decision to build on top of them. You're also going to be balancing those decisions against what's going to score you the in-game victory points, those ziggurats like I talked about, and you're going to have some goal cards that sit off to the side of the board that can be completed as soon as their goals are met as well. So all of these things are having to be balanced at the same time. So if you're looking for a new Euro game and you really like dice drafting games, this one is doing so many unique different things, and it is really, really a brain burner because you're really trying to plan several turns ahead in this game, which is not something you always have to do. It's good maybe to think a turn or two ahead in some Euros. You're really wanting to plan out at least a whole round in this game. So this is a first look at Tabannusi, City of Hopefully the things that I've talked about today are enough to get you kind of excited about this game, or at least you're going to be able to make the decision whether or not this is a game for you or not. The game is coming out later this year in 2021, so look forward to that and all of the other great games that Board&Dice has planned. They're going to have a really big year this year, and I think that they are one of the companies that we should definitely all be paying attention to. So thank you so much for watching this first look today, and you can check out Tabannusi Builders of when it releases in the fall.
Congratulations, you got to the end of one of our videos. Now, if you want more practice, just click on the video over here. It's another video. You might not have seen it yet, so click on it. If you don't want to do that, at least click on the subscription button below. That always helps us. And if you want notifications, please ring that bell.